This is The Bracketologists, your home for March Madness coverage, presented by Anchor.
The brackets are here, and we're ready to help you guys fill them in. How's it going, guys? I'm Brandon Matula, and this is The Bracketologists, your home for March Madness coverage. I'm so excited. We got Tommy back. Tommy, how you doing?
I'm good, guys. I had a rough work week, just grinding out because I was in Vegas for a wedding, so that's where I was during my absence, my kind of 2-week absence there. Vegas was cool, especially because it does relate a little bit to this podcast. They had some of the games there, so it was cool to be in that environment, see everyone repping their teams. A lot of Arizona jerseys, a lot of those. But yeah, it was fun. Vegas is cool. It was my first time there, so I enjoyed my vacation, but I'm ready to get back to the grind, and I couldn't have picked a more perfect time because we got the brackets here and there's a lot to talk about. I don't know how we're going to fit it all, but I'm very excited, and this is the best time of year. Better than Christmas.
Woohoo! Yes, it feels like Christmas. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't wait for Thursday. Thursday is going to be like Christmas morning. Going to wake up. We're in Central Time, so 11 a.m., sleep in a little bit, and then pull open your computer and your TV and get some of those games on. We're excited to get this show on the road. Today, we're just going to have a quick talk about the conference championship weekend. Jason and I broke that down in detail this past weekend and the ramifications of the results. But today, Tommy and I will just briefly go over some of our thoughts on that. And then we're going to each pick 4 games, and we're going to talk about them. Tommy's going to take 4 games on Thursday's slot, and I'm going to take 4 on the Friday slot. And then from there, we're going to name players to watch. Tommy and I both got an eye on someone. So that'll be fun because it's always fun to watch a certain player. There's always a darling Cinderella player. There's always a Cinderella team, but sometimes you got a Cinderella player. So you got to highlight that. And sometimes it's fun to predict it. And then lastly, we're just going to predict the first 4 games. They don't get much love in the tournament. Last year, we had a team that made it to the Final 4 that was in the first 4. So, I mean, it's important to pay attention to those because you never can tell what can happen. But with that said, let's go ahead and get this show on the road. So just quick thoughts on conference championship weekend. Tommy, you saw a lot of teams make it to, in many people's opinions, a lot of people feel that they didn't deserve to be there. And I mean, I agree with them. I could not believe A&M made it as far as they did. Did you catch them at all? Just any of the games, any of those crazy buzzer beaters or any of that?
Yeah. So I did not, I wasn't able to catch them. It was pretty cool to be able to like be in that environment, but obviously busy with the wedding and stuff. I wasn't able to catch it. So Brandon, if you don't mind, like you should fill me and any other listeners who haven't been able to catch up with that. You should help us out.
Yeah. So just A&M made this crazy run, and in the tournament, we were just so expectant that Auburn was going to meet Tennessee or Kentucky in the SEC championship, and then Auburn loses pretty much in the first round. In their first round, A&M was in the play-in game, and they beat Florida. And they moved on, and then they beat Auburn, which shocked everybody. And A&M just went from there. And a lot of people were thinking A&M was going to be a last 4 team in, and then they lose in the championship game against Tennessee, a team that I really spoke highly of in one of our previous episodes. They took the SEC title, and then A&M ends up being a last 4 team out. And I was really surprised with that. I mean, I saw that they put Michigan in with a 17-14 record, and they decided to put them in over the Aggies. That just didn't really sit well with me. Tommy, you're probably hearing this. You're like, oh my gosh, like what's Michigan doing there?
Yeah.
And that SEC championship was pretty good. Jason and I made pretty good calls on championship weekend. I think I called. Forgot who I called, but Virginia Tech, another low-seeded team, made it far in the ACC tournament and beat Duke in Coach K's final ACC championship. And gosh, it just seems that his season keeps getting spoiled more and more. He loses his last home game as a head coach, and then loses his last ACC championship game. I think it was his 22nd of his coaching career to make it to the ACC championship. So congrats to Coach K on a great career. We're going to be really focused on Duke as we head into week 1 of March Madness. And with that, all that said, that's pretty much the stuff that stood out to me in conference championship week. But let's go ahead and get into the fun stuff, day 1 and 2. So this is how we're going to do it. Tommy, as I said, is going to pick 4 games that he's going to have an eye on. We'll break those down, and then I'll break down 4 games on Friday. So Tommy, I want to hear it. What's your first game you're going to be watching on Thursday in the field of 64?
Okay, so on Thursday in the field of 64, the first game I will be watching with great expertise is the Michigan versus Colorado State game. It's a little bit of a, you think Michigan's going to kill them, but Colorado State does have the better record. It's an 11th seed Michigan versus a 6th seed Colorado State, and I'm kind of wondering who's going to come out of this alive. Is it going to be Michigan? Is it going to be Colorado State? So Brandon, I turn to you, and I'm curious, who do you have in this matchup?
Oh man, I have, as y'all heard in the last episode, Jason and I have personal ties to the Rams. One of our former players at DBU had a extra year under his belt because of the COVID year, and he decided to go D1. And he's playing on the Rams, and he hit a clutch shot to send them to the next round in the Mountain West tournament. His name's Chandler Jacobs, number 13. And so be watching for him. Not one of the top scorers for the Rams, but I definitely expect the Rams to beat down on Michigan. I'm pretty sure everybody but Michigan fans are upset about Michigan getting in over any of the first 4 teams out. I was just pretty astounded by that. But if you look at the stat line, they line up pretty well with Colorado State. I mean, you got to remember Michigan is in the Big Ten, so they play tough teams. But I really like Colorado State in this matchup, and I like them because of their free throw percentage, 77% on the year across their team. Mm-hmm. And everywhere else, they pretty much tie the Wolverines. But Colorado, like the stat that really gets me going is that Colorado is only averaged 10 turnovers a game, while Michigan's almost had 12. Those 2 extra turnovers can make a big difference in the month of March. So I'm liking the Rams in this one. So, Tommy, I don't know if I heard yours. Who are you liking in this matchup?
So I did already fill out my bracket just to make sure that I had one. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of tweaking to that bracket, and I'm very excited for that because that's always fun. But right now, I have Michigan just because of the experience, because of the storyline that they have, and I do see Michigan beating Colorado State by just a little bit. But shoot, man, you make a good point with going with the Rams. So I'm definitely, this is one of those, this is why I'm asking you, because it's one of those matchups I'm just still unsure about. It's not 100% confident in. And I have Michigan, but I could very easily change.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those 6 and 11 games are, they can go either way. And Michigan, it could go either way, y'all. But definitely pay attention to the stats. Turnovers and free throw percentage is a big key when deciding these games. All right, Tommy, I want to hear your next game that you got an eye on Thursday.
All right, so that was kind of the first one I was a bit iffy on, but this one I literally have no clue who to pick. It's been back and forth every time I think about it, and I got to get your opinion. Brandon, this is Memphis versus Boise State. 9 seed Memphis versus 8 seed Boise State. I am super lost with this one. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on it to see what's going on. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, these 8 and 9 games, it's literally a coin flip in my eyes. Yeah. Because if you look at them, if you multiply 8 by 4, because there's 4 seeds of each number all the way to 16. So Boise State's top 32, and Memphis is top 36. So they're both right there, So that's what makes these so tough is because, I mean, 9 seeds can be better than 8. Like it happens all the time. So I really look at these games as coin flips. So you could go with either way, and you'll at least get 2 out of your 4. You'll be 50% with these most of the time. But if you could get them all, that's good. But with this one, I got to go with Memphis because Memphis has been the hot team as of late. They have, looking at their schedule here, they got 4 wins in the month of March, 5, 6. Yeah, they had 6 straight wins up until they lost to Houston in the American Championship. They beat Houston twice in the span of 14 days, and then they lost the third matchup. And we just know in college basketball, it's not common for a team to win over an opponent 3 times. It just doesn't happen. So I think that's just what happened there. Houston just figured out Memphis finally. But I really like this Memphis Tigers team, and be paying attention to reports in the next few days because Imani Bates, one of the top prospects from last year's class, is possibly making a return for the tournament. But even if they don't have him, I really love this Memphis team. I got to watch them personally in Fort Worth for the American Championships. And gosh, that Jalen Duren center, he's averaging 12 points. Nothing crazy, but gosh, he is so athletic. Be expecting big highlights from him. Maybe a crazy alley-oop or a poster dunk or something. And I think his energy is going to really propel them over the Boise State Broncos. Broncos are coming off of a Mountain West Championship win. This is not a team to be messed with. I really would argue this team could be a 7 seed, but it's just so tight this year. I respect them at an 8 seed, but be watching. I mean, there's not a lot of great scores on Boise State. They're just a really great collaborative team. They only have 3 guys that score over 10 points a game, and their highest scorer scores 15 a game. So no superstars on this team, but Memphis, they got superstars. So I'm going to go with Memphis in this one.
All right. Heck yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm going with Memphis as well. But, Boise State, they're ranked just a little bit higher. They have 6 more wins than Memphis. That's always kind of important, experience and gameplay. But Memphis they're used to going to this March Madness tournament. Boise, not always. So for that reason, I also have Memphis. Yeah, great pick, Brandon. So for this next one, I'm just curious. I just want to ask it. It's another 9 seed and 8 seed. But this one is surprising because at Caesar's Palace in Vegas, they have the team that I wouldn't expect winning to win. And this team was pretty hot last year, I remember, before going into the tournament. So this is, once again, a 9 seed versus an 8 seed. This is Creighton versus San Diego State. San Diego State is projected to win by just a handful of points. But as we know, Creighton has been pretty powerful in the March Madness tournament. So, with that in mind, Brandon, what are you picking? Who are you picking between those 2 teams?
Yeah, looking at this, and again, it's another coin toss for just an 8 and a 9 seed. It could go either way, but I really like Creighton. Creighton really did well down the stretch in the Big East tournament. They made it all the way to the final for the Big East final, and they lost by 6 to Villanova in a slugfest of a game. It's just great defense, and this team is really great at defense. Couldn't tell you exactly their rankings, but they're just a great team all around. But what kind of scares me about them is their offense. 14 turnovers game. That's a little concerning for me. But then at the same time, the Aztecs have a 68% free throw percentage. It's just not good heading into the month of March. Not only the month of March, like this tournament, but I really like the guys out of Creighton a little bit more. I just think they're a lot more stout and a lot more disciplined. Scratch out all their turnovers, but besides that, they're great on defense, and great defense can take you really far in the tournament. It doesn't always win it. Defense doesn't really win championships in basketball. I think that's a hot take of mine. But I would take Creighton in this. So another 9 seed beating an 8 seed. But I really like San Diego, how they played down the stretch. But they get into foul trouble a lot, 18 fouls a game. And they're not really great in the rebounding game, only 22 rebounds or 32 rebounds a game. So they're not a very big team. And the winner of this game plays probably Kansas. So I don't think these guys have the mindset to go very far, if you get what I'm saying. So I'm going to take Creighton in this one.
Creighton. Okay. I love it. Yeah, Creighton. I have Creighton as well. I don't think I'm going to be switching that pick. I know Lenardi really likes San Diego State to be Creighton, but I just don't know if he's right with that one. So that being said, I got to go with Creighton as well. And to transition into our last one, it's a 5 versus 12. We love those because there's always a 5-12 upset in March Madness. And I don't know if I think we had just one last year. I remember, 2020 got canceled, but in 2019, I think almost every 5-12 team got upset.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was really fun to watch. So with that in mind, this 5-12 team, it seems a little obvious, but I'm just curious if you're swinging another way. Brandon, I've got New Mexico State versus UConn. UConn is projected to win by about 7 points. Are you sticking with UConn? Are you sticking with that high seeding, or are you feeling pretty confident with New Mexico State, who does have the better record at the time?
Yeah. New Mexico State, I believe they had 30 wins last year. So this is a team that is not to be messed with. A 12 seed, like, people might look at that and be like, oh, they're nothing. But 12 seeds are done pretty good recently in the tournament. And we had a 11 seed, a team just ranked one ahead, make it to the Final Four last year. So we can't count 12 seeds out, not by any means. But in this one, though, I really like UConn's because UConn is pretty much a blue blood in college basketball, and they know how to get hot in these moments. They had Book Night a few years back, and now they got a guy named RJ Cole, guard, 16 points a game, 41% shooting, 85% free throw percentage. I think that, like, if he gets to the line towards the end of the game, it's going to keep him safe. But I'm kind of at a standstill at this one. I'm going to lean UConn, but an upset would not surprise me. I know that's easy to say, but I really respect this New Mexico team. 12 seeds, looking at their path here in the current projections. Let's see. I'm trying to find where they are. 5 and 12. 5 and 12. I think they are in. Yes. So they are in Gonzaga. So they're in the West region. Yeah, looking at their path here, they potentially go against an Arkansas team in the next round. So I'll say this. If New Mexico beats UConn, I think New Mexico can make it to the Sweet 16. I think they can beat Arkansas. The winner of Arkansas and Vermont. Vermont can give Arkansas a run for their money, but I'm going to take Arkansas in that one. But yeah, you never can tell. But I'm going to lean UConn, but I'm not going to preach UConn, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
How about yourself? What are you thinking?
Ooh, this is one of those ones I wanted to ask you because I was curious. Personally, I got UConn just because they are the higher seed, and a lot of people are pretty sure they're gonna beat New Mexico State. That's what the talk of the town is right now. But I love a good 5-12 upset. I almost want to choose them just because I just love the fun, knowing that I have a 25% chance because almost every tournament there is one. So, I got UConn. Expect that to change. No, don't expect it to change, but if whoever's in my bracket or my tournament, in my group, don't be surprised if that does change. But yeah, New Mexico State. They're a good team, good players, but got to go UConn.
All right, folks, there you have it. 4 games from Tommy. Those are the games that he's watching. Heed our advice because Tommy and I finished pretty much at the top of our brackets last year, so we know what we're talking about. We're out hosting this podcast for crying out loud, so don't be afraid to follow us. But also, do what your heart desires, because nobody is a true expert in March Madness, but you can have people that are pretty good at it. But let's go ahead and get into mine. Friday slot. Tommy just did the Thursday slot. I'm looking at these matchups. I'm excited for a lot of them. And one that has my attention, and Tommy, I wanted to get your thoughts on this one, is a 10-7 matchup. Loyola Chicago, familiar name, and Ohio State. Loyola busted a lot of brackets in 2019, and they busted quite a few in the 2021 bracket. They beat Illinois, and Illinois was a 1 seed last year, a team that you've spoken really highly of, Tommy. Mm-hmm. And now Loyola plays another Big Ten opponent in the first round against Ohio State. So my question to you is, looking at their stats and just seeing how they stack up this year, do you think Loyola has a possible Sweet 16 run in them?
Sweet 16 is tough. It's tough for me to say right now. If I have to answer right now, I'm gonna say no. If I have to answer right now, obviously, if I had more time to think about it, could be yes. But do they beat Ohio State? Right, that's the question at hand. Mm-hmm. It's even right now in Vegas. It's even, and it's even for a reason. It's because we literally don't know who's gonna win. They're so even. And Loyola, as we've seen in the past tournaments, they just kick butt, man. They really do well. For the heck of it, and for the fun, I think I go Loyola Chicago. I think Ohio State's they've got some dogs on that team. They're good, but I got Loyola Chicago.
Yeah. This is going to be a great matchup. One thing y'all got to remember, I know y'all see 7, or maybe not y'all. This is what my brain does. You see 7, and then you see 10, and then you automatically think, oh, wow, they're 17th light years ahead of 10, but it's really not. It's like one matchup outside from 8 and 9. So that these teams are like within 16 ranks of each other, 15 ranks of each other. And there's always upsets within 15 ranks. We saw it throughout this month and throughout February. So do not be surprised if the Ramblers come out on top. They got new guys since last year and new guys since their 2019 run, or 2018 run. But they still got the same coach, and they got the same mindset. They're coached the same way. So don't be surprised if they come out rambling. See what I did there? Out of the first round and making it to the round of 32 over Ohio State. I'm not a fan of Ohio State right now. It's just, I think they're way more worthy than Michigan, but I just don't think they're a team that can really win this thing. But while Loyola Chicago, they're conference champions. They've been to the Final Four before. This coach knows how to get there, so I think he could do it. Have a shot at it again. I'm not going to make a hot prediction yet because the next round they have to play Villanova, and in my eyes, Villanova is a hot team going into this tournament. Okay. So another matchup that I have an eye on, Virginia Tech and Texas. And this is it's not going to shock y'all. Y'all have been listening to this podcast long enough to know Tommy and I do not believe in Texas. Although we are Texans, we are not long. Big difference. I'm not confident in Texas as of right now. Funny thing, Tommy, I don't know if you saw it. It's a funny thing. So how they do the selection show on CBS and they get the reactions of the players when they make it into the tournament. Mm-hmm. And Texas got on the board and they were like, yeah, woo! And then they saw Virginia Tech show up at next to 11. and then one of their guys forgot their name, but guy on the left side, if you seen the video, makes a face. He's like, oh man. Dang it. Because these Virginia Tech Hokies are red hot right now. Don't even read the stats, because although they outperform Texas in all these stats do not do the Hokies justice of what they just did in the ACC tournament. They just upset Coach K, legendary coach, Hall of Fame coach, in his last ACC championship. Like, just imagine the pressure on the Duke players, like how much they wanted that for their coach, and they couldn't deliver. Like, that shows how good the Hokies really are. And I like this team because they're pretty deep. It's not a small man rotation, like other teams like Baylor, but I really like this team a lot. Couture was a guy that I really liked. He was 11 of 16 shooting, and he had 31 points in the championship game against Duke. And their guys on the bench need to contribute a little bit more, but their starters are solid, and I think they can take them the distance. I don't see a deep run in Virginia Tech, but I see a win over Texas. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Texas got upset. Guys, that is not the case. I'm very surprised Texas is a favorite in this. Like, I just don't like Texas going into this. Tommy, jump on the train with me. How are you feeling about Texas?
Yeah, you guys know, since literally on the very first show that we've had here in Bracketologist, I've always said do not believe in Texas, and here's why. I'm a film guy. I'm a film major, so I like the University of Texas. Like, it's a great school. Austin's a cool place to be. I've only been there a handful of times, but it is a cool place to kind of hang out and have a good time. But as far as the University of Texas basketball goes, they've just let me down one too many times. And when you lose my trust that many times in a row, I just can't ever trust you again, especially when it's March Madness. I don't play around when it comes to March Madness. So that being said, they officially lost my trust last year when I had them going to the finals against Illinois, and we all know how both of those teams ended up. So, screw Texas. I'm going Virginia Tech all the way. I think they make a decent run. I think they might make it past the round of 32 if they continue to be red hot and have that momentum from Texas. But they can't get too comfortable. They probably know that they're going to beat Texas, but if they get too comfortable, then they're going to have a tough time in the round of 32. But that's in the future. For now, this is easier than picking what I'm going to get for lunch tomorrow. It's so easy. It's Virginia Tech by a mile. Bet all your money on it. Bet your life savings, your mortgage, everything, because Virginia Tech's going to be Texas.
I love it. I love to hear it. Man, we love to slander Texas on this show. Sorry to all the Longhorn fans. Don't hate us. We're just speaking facts.
Hey, we like Texas football,
Yeah. Hopefully they can get things together after getting that quarterback Ewers in from Ohio State. But anyways, Speaking of Ohio State and the Big Ten, here's another matchup that I got that I'm looking at. And you're going to hear this and be like, Brandon, what are you thinking? What are you thinking, man? What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by
that? I got Chattanooga against Illinois. Illinois did not have a great tournament in my eyes in the Big Ten tournament. They only made it to the quarterfinal, lost to Indiana. They were probably going to be a 3 seed in my eyes, and then they kind of fell to that 4. I think they're one of the last of the 4 seeds. And then Chattanooga comes in after that big buzzer beater the other day. And y'all know where I'm going with this, because I talked about it the other day with Jason. And I just really, really like Chattanooga, because you know where Chattanooga is really strong is their guards. They got this guy, Malachi Smith, averaging 20 points a game. And then Jean-Baptiste, who made that crazy buzzer beater to win the championship, I believe, 15 points per game. And then DeSosa at 11 points per game. And two of these guys, and Smith and Jean-Baptiste, they're guards. And then DeSosa is a forward. So I like how this Chattanooga team is a little bit at small ball. They got some size inside, but their scoring is really coming from the perimeter. While looking at Illinois, sorry to all the Illinois listeners, they're not really built that way. They're built through their center, Kofi Cockburn, averaging 21 in each game. And one thing that is rule of thumb of mine, centers and power forwards, they're the superstars. They're not reliable going far into the tournament. They might win 1 or 2 games, but they're not reliable going far. And man, I'm gonna call it. Like this is the upset of the upset of Friday. Like this is the game that I'm calling as an upset. Chattanooga over the Fighting Illini. I really think Chattanooga can beat them. Illinois' defense is pretty great, but I think Chattanooga, I just think they're buzzing right now. And I'm a real big believer in them. Tommy, I think I left you speechless. What are you thinking?
Yeah, it's not as crazy as a take as you would think I would, as you think I would think it is. But I can see where you're coming from. I'll just say that. I can see where you're coming from. I understand that you like how hot Chattanooga is right now and how far you think that they could go based off that hot streak. Because that's kind of where I'm coming from with Virginia Tech. Like that's kind of where I'm coming from with Virginia Tech. They're hot right now, and I don't like Texas. Well, Chattanooga's hot right now, but I love Illinois. I picked them to win the tournament last year. I know that didn't really work out in my favor. I think because of that, they come into this tournament with a chip on their shoulders. And I do think they beat Chattanooga. I love where Chattanooga's going. I'm going to support them. I love, a little Cinderella story, but it's hard to go against the Fighting Illini. And Illinois, I honestly think they could potentially make an Elite Eight run just because they want to get back to where they should have been last year. So I do like Illinois and I like Chattanooga. Both great teams. They give a lot of heart, but it's hard for me to go against Illinois. I'll tell you what, though, if Illinois loses again in the first round, you'll probably see a pretty similar situation to how I treat Texas. Like, I'll probably be pretty pissed. But just for this, I got to go Illinois. I got to.
So. All right. Yeah, no harm in that. And I'm glad we're disagreeing. It makes things more difficult for our listeners to pick a team if they're relying on us. But yeah, it's going to be a great game for sure. One thing that we could agree on is that it has potential to be really close and maybe might be down to the last shot. We'll have to see. Last game that I want to talk about, comparing Thursday and Friday, it really seems like Thursday's got all the great matchups. That's just my opinion. But this one really jumped out to me. Houston at a 5 seed and UAB at a 12 seed. Both of these teams are conference champions. UAB winning their Conference USA and the Houston winning the American. Keep in mind, Houston is missing 2 of their best players in Marcus Sasser and Tremont Mark. And there were some rumors that Marcus Sasser might be coming back for the Cougs. And it just looks like that's not happening. Coach Sampson denied those rumors. But another guy that I want to give my attention to, this guy almost got my player to watch in the first week. It's this guy named Jordan Walker. 20 points per game. He went crazy in the Conference USA tournament. He averaged well above 25 points a game. He had a 40-piece against Middle Tennessee and ended up putting a 27-piece against Louisiana Tech in the championship game. So Houston is good at containing bigs. They did a great job at containing Jalen Duren, but containing guards, like they haven't really faced that this year. Like really star-studded guards. They just haven't had that challenge yet. And they went against Kendrick Davis out of SMU, but I think this Jordan Walker is something else. And I'm kind of having a hard time with this one, Tommy. 5-12. You would think he would take the conference champion that won at a higher level, but UAB is red hot right now. I want to hear your pick out of this one.
Yeah, I've got Houston, just because the 3 teams, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, and if you're listening, congratulations, because this is going to be your ticket to winning big in your bracket. Is the 3 big teams you got to follow here are Gonzaga. I'm from Texas. Gonzaga, Houston, and Arizona. Those 3 teams, when they have a lead, have never lost. So that being like when they have held a lead in the game, they've never lost. But that, and I've seen this Houston team play live this season just once, but I've seen them play live many times. Brandon more times than I, and they'll shoot you out of a game when they get hot behind the three. There's really nothing else you can do. I do like them against UAB. I think it's cool to see UAB in this March Madness tournament. But with the way things are going for Houston, I don't think Houston goes crazy far. Just because they're gonna play teams that are going to be a lot different than their conference because their conference is a little easy.
Yeah.
A little easier than we give it credit for probably. But I got to go Houston on this one. I don't see myself ever picking UAB to beat. He does beat Houston, it'd be a pretty cool 5-12 upset, but it's just hard to beat that Houston team. Yeah. Once they get that lead, they're just not going to let it go. They don't really fall behind too much, and those are the three big. It's a part of the big three this season, and yeah, I like Houston's odds, so I'm going Houston.
All right, so this is what I'll say. I'll say it'll come down to one shot. It'll go either way. So the Brandon line, like the Las Vegas line has it at
Houston by 9.
Houston by 9, and the Brandon line says it's going to be by one shot. Just whoever has the last possession of the game, they're going to take it. That's just my take on that one. All right, that's all my games. Those are the games to watch. So just to review, Michigan and Colorado State for Tommy, Memphis and Boise State. Looking further down, New Mexico State and UConn, and then Creighton and San Diego State. Great picks. I think those are, in my opinion, the best out of those groups. I hope there's upsets, but you can always guarantee that in a big tournament. And then for us, for myself, UAB Houston, Loyola versus Ohio State, Virginia Tech versus Texas, and then Chattanooga versus Illinois. Those are our games to watch. Of course, there's a lot of other games going on, so make sure to pay attention to others, but those were the most important ones to us. Before we move on, I just wanted to give y'all a few notes that will help y'all in your brackets. One thing to keep in mind, LSU, I thought LSU was going to pull out, but they did not. LSU does not have a head coach right now. He got fired over I really haven't studied what it was, but it was NCAA violations. So they don't have a coach right now. And if you don't have good leadership in the month of March, it's just maybe not good leadership, but like consistent leadership because it's a whole new coach now. You're going to not have very good odds against a team that does have a coach. So Iowa State, look to pick them in that one. And then looking elsewhere, Memphis, make sure Imani Bates is back on before making a final decision. That one will be close, but I would still take Memphis, but I'll take Memphis by a lot if they have Imani Bates. And then besides that, Jackrabbits. That's a team that you need to remember. South Dakota State Jackrabbits. I forgot who they were playing. Can't find them in the bracket here. I'm not sure if they're the first day or the second day, or the first 4 games. But yeah, keep an eye on them. That's going to be a team that might make some noise. But let's go ahead and move on to our next segment. It's going to be players to watch. Tommy, you've had your eye on your player for quite a while, so I'm going to let you go first. Who are you watching in week 1?
Yeah, so in the first week, we don't know who they're playing yet. You guys know I've been praising this team since the first podcast, but St. Mary's, I love them. I unfortunately don't have them going too far because I'm a little nervous how they're going to play in the tournament, but I freaking trust St. Mary's. I hope they do well. It's just a team that's just been fighting hard. They have a tough little conference. But I really respect St. Mary's and what they do. And my player that I'm watching is Logan Johnson, and here's why. Now, I'm going to read his stat line. You're not going to think anything crazy. He averages 11.5 points a game, 4 rebounds, 2.6 assists, and about a 43% field goal, which is really good. But here's why I'm watching him. When they played Gonzaga, he was the guy. He was the guy right there. And he had 21 points, Although he had 3 turnovers and 4 fouls, he did have 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block and a steal, which is really good to see that he can not only play guard, but he can play a defense as well. Because most guards in college are just good one way or another, which he's good both ways, which I like. And just seeing the way he played against Gonzaga and the way he led his team, even though he's not the leader, right? The way he led his team and how he trusted that they would beat Gonzaga. He had trust in his team, and that's big. And he was preaching it the whole game, and he felt it the whole game. And when they interviewed him after, he was really respectful. I really respected what he said. First person he thanked was God, and he was just thanking his teammates and his coach. And it was just like, man, this is a good kid. This is a good kid. I like him. I think he's got heart. He's a senior, so we know he has to ball out. And he's pretty – I mean, he's 6'2", 170 pounds. He's pretty similar to not my height, but my size. So, I mean, he's not a freak athlete, but, man, he's got heart. And that's what you need in the March Madness tournaments. It's the teams like Loyola Chicago and the teams like UMBC that didn't make it this year. But it's teams like that have the heart. And, man, I like him. I like him a lot. So Logan Johnson's going to be my player to watch. He plays for St. Mary's. They play on Thursday against one of the play-in teams. Keep an eye out on him because if he continues to play and have the confidence he did against Gonzaga in this tournament, he will be very good.
I love it. I love that you've had a team that you've been sticking with this pretty much the entirety of this podcast. I'm excited to see them in action. I didn't get to watch them too much. I watched them in their upset win over Gonzaga, and I was kind of expecting that because you kind of enlightened me on how great they can be, and I'm excited to see how far they make it into this year's dance. Yeah. My guy is a guy that I've had an eye on since the beginning of the season. I'm talking about the Maui Invitational MVP, Johnny Davis out of Wisconsin. 19 points a game, almost 20, 43 field goal percentage, 78 free throw percentage. I think this guy is going to he's going to go nuts in this tournament. Like, I think this is going to be a guy that could possibly get, like, if I'm going to pick anybody, this might be the guy that can get close to beating Steph Curry's 3-game record. I forgot if it's 2 or 3 games, but yeah, it's 3-game record. I think Johnny Davis is just an all-around great scorer. He can score on the perimeter. He can get inside, get those floaters in. That's a big shot in college basketball. I'm excited to watch him, and I want to see how far he could take the Badgers this year. I think the Badgers can make a really great run this year, but that pretty much does it for just breaking down the main tournament going on this week. But before we go, we just want to go ahead and make our picks for the first 4 games just to give you all a better idea of what to expect when the field of 64 is available for picking. So let's go ahead and look at these matchups. Tommy, I won't lie to you. I don't know too much about Texas A&M, CC, and I know a bit about Texas Southern. One of their guys, Bryson Gresham, great center, helped them win that championship game. But I couldn't really, I mean, it's a 16 versus a 16, so I couldn't tell you. I mean, I would use the stats, but if you look at the stats, it looks pretty even. Except at free throws, looks like the Texas A&M CC Islanders beat Texas Southern at free throw percentage, so that could be a catalyst. So I would take them. Would you take them as well, Tommy?
Yeah, I'm actually. So I do know a little bit about them. Like, I like Texas A&M, Corpus Christi. It's cool because Texas Southern, they're from Houston, so we know a little bit more about them. And Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, it's kind of this just weird, almost like little nook and cranny college, and on right by the Corpus Christi Island. It's pretty cool. I've been to the campus before, and I've driven past it a couple times, and it's neat. Like, it's like, whoa, like there's just this random college campus here. But man, it's good to see them balling out. It's good to see them in a March Madness tournament. They're going to get a little bit of recognition for that. That's what we want for these Texas teams, supporting Texas, but just teams like that, little small teams that are kind of in these nook and cranny places of the world, having a chance to shine. Now, I would love to say I have Texas Southern because of that Houston pride, but if I'm being honest, Texas Southern, and this is big for me, and you guys know this, is the competition that the teams have played. Are they hard? Has it been easy? Because that's a big thing for me. And that being said, Texas A&M, Corpus Christi has had the harder competition, and they've already beaten Texas Southern. So for those two reasons alone, I'm going to go Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Texas Southern, it'd be cool to see them ball out, out of Houston. It'd be nice. They're another small school and not so nook and cranny, but still a small school that you don't think about too often. But I gotta go Texas A&M Corpus Christi.
Nice. Going with the Islanders. Okay. Next game coming up today, Tuesday. Wow, gosh, we really are here. God, man,
it's exciting.
I'm so excited. I just got a rush of adrenaline. Let's get into this matchup. The Hoosiers and Wyoming Cowboys. I'm excited for this matchup because both of these teams really want to be here. Indiana has some beef with Houston's coach, Kelvin Sampson. He used to coach for them, and then there was some scandal that I don't know too much about, but it kind of froze the Hoosiers basketball program. But now they're back in the dance, kind of. They're playing in the first four, and they're playing against the Cowboys, a team that performed pretty well in the regular season and just couldn't get the job done in the conference tournament. I really like Indiana in this, but I'm really liking the Cowboys also. I mean, I just think they're a team that really wants to be here because Indiana, like, they've been here before, but while for the Cowboys, this is not a usual spot for them. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys on this one. What about you, Tommy?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Cowboys as well. You would think that Indiana, they do have the better odds. Caesar's Palace has them to win. But I like Wyoming. I like where they're going. You don't see them in the March Madness tournament too often. I think they're in the tournament for a reason. And I think we go against the grain here. We go Wyoming.
All right, love it. All right, Bryant Bulldogs versus Wright State Raiders. The mascot looks like a wolf, and they call them Raiders. Interesting. So it'll be a dogfight. Man, what makes me sad about this matchup is both of these teams are conference champions, and I just think it's ridiculous that a conference champion has to play in the first four. I think they need to be automatic bids. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it is what it is. I'm going to go with Bryant. I liked what I saw out of them in the tournament. They shot a little bit better than they did throughout the season, only 31% from three-point line, so they're not going far. But I'm going to go with the Bulldogs in this one. But this isn't a big matchup because regardless, I think the winner of this game plays Arizona. Yeah, I think that's the case. So, yeah, I don't think either of these teams are going far, but kudos to them for making it to where they made it. But yeah, I got Bryant in this one.
Yeah, it's tough to have to watch two conference champions play against each other. I'm going Wright State. I don't know too much about Bryant. I know that they've got a really good player who's averaging 25 points a game, which is crazy. Peter Kiss is his name. But Tanner Holden on Wright State's a dog. And I do know a little bit about Wright State. Like, I know the team that they play, I think are a little bit similar to St. Mary's, and I think they both play Oakland. And they're kind of up there. They're once again these two small schools that you don't think are going to make noise, but I would like to see one of these teams make noise, and the team that I would like to see between the two would be Wright State. So I'm going Wright State. I think they're just a little slightly better than Bryant, and although I don't know Bryant too well, I do know Wright State has a little bit of a dogfight in them. So I like Wright State.
All right. Glad we disagree on something. All right, last first four matchup. Fighting Irish out of Notre Dame versus the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. Wow, this is going to be probably the best matchup, in my opinion, out of the first four. I'm going to take the Scarlet Knights, and I'm going to do them an extra favor and say, out of anybody in the first four, keep in mind, just the first four, this team has the best chance to do what UCLA did last year. And I'll tell you why. They can beat the big teams. We've seen it done, and I wouldn't put it past them of them doing it again. They're going to be placed. So they're an 11 seed, keep in mind. So they're going to be placed against Alabama, a team that has really underperformed towards the end of the season. And then they play the winners of Texas Tech. I possibly take them over Texas Tech in this game. Like I really think they could beat Texas Tech because I think the Big 12, it's had very good competition. I think the Big 10 has the best competition since they have 9 bids this year. And then Duke, I'm not too confident in Duke. So if they met Duke in the Sweet 16, I think Rutgers could possibly make a Elite 8 run. I don't know about Final Four. Gonzaga, that'll be really tough to pick against them. Chet Holmgren has been great all year, along with Tim A and other guys from their squad from last year. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Scarlet Knights in this one and be expecting them to go far and wide in this tournament, further than you might expect.
Yeah, I'm going Scarlet Knights as well. I like Rutgers. They've always been that team in March Madness that just surprises you. And that being said, I like their odds. I like where they're going. Notre Dame's a great team as well, but I got to go Rutgers. I think Rutgers is going to really make some noise. So I agree.
All right, folks, it is time. It's March, and it's not only March, it's March Madness, and it's not only March Madness. The tournament is starting today. So make sure to be watching, be expecting some video content from myself and possibly Tommy, and make sure to fill out your brackets if you haven't already. Hit that link tree. Should be at the top link. Hit that top link and fill out your bracket. It's on ESPN's system, so it's pretty easy to set up if you haven't. But you're going to have a chance at $100. Free entry, y'all. Not a lot of other tournament, not a lot of other bracket contests do that. Free entry. That's pretty generous of us here at the Bracketologists. But final words, enjoy it, y'all. I mean, last year it was really fun last year, but I think this year we truly are back to normal, and I'm excited to see what happens. But thank you guys for tuning in to today's episode and just really tuning in into this entire show. Y'all have made it very enjoyable for Tommy and myself and our guest, Jason Lippert. And that's it for me. Tommy, any last words before the tournament starts?
Yeah, like you were saying, Brandon, man, I got the freaking chills. Like when you were saying how crazy it is that it's literally like it's going to start tomorrow. That's just insane. We've been talking about this for so long. It's truthfully my favorite sporting event, more than the finals, more than the Super Bowl, more than the World Series. This is my favorite sporting event. It's just so much fun. So yeah, we're here. We don't have to keep talking about getting here because we are here. And now it's time to rumble. Are you ready to rumble is my question, because it's going to go down. It's the year where anyone could take it. You would think Gonzaga is going all the way, and they very well can, but anyone could take it. Literally anyone. It's crazy. So I love that that's the case, that anyone can take it. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to it.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. Good luck, and may God be with you through this month of March. It's going to be crazy. I'm going to be on the edge of my seat. As for myself, Brandon Matula and Thomas Hicks, this is the Bracketologists. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.
This has been the Bracketologists, presented by Anchor. We'll see you guys next time.